It's been a series of firsts for the Texas Monarchs, and today they play for another, the franchise's first ever series sweep. Meanwhile, the Hub City Adelitas will look to salvage a game of their first ever visit to San Marcos and to end a season-long 3-game losing streak. It's the finale of the series, and we've got it coming up next. Coming to you from Bobcat Softball Stadium on the official WPF YouTube channel, Brant Freeman alongside Bill Colhane. And Bill, the series began with a run rule victory, but since then, a pair of really competitive games.
Yes, including last night. Aspen Wesley, exceptional in the circle for the Monarchs. Right now, Hub City having trouble coming up with a big hit, just 4 for 23 with runners in scoring position so far in the series. They need to come up big in certain 8 at-bats today.
Looking back at the highlights from Game 3 yesterday, a game highlighted by strong pitching. In the circle for the Adelitas, the ex-Ohio State Buckeye Lexi Handley tossed all 6 innings, did give up 3 earned runs, but struck out 4, although she was saddled with the loss. Meanwhile, for the Monarchs, Aspen Wesley, a complete game of the circle in her first career start.
Yeah, exceptional. We had seen Wesley, of course, on in relief a number of times. Did a great job there, but let's say this. She was backed by really good defense by the Monarchs in last night's ball game.
In the circle today in the finale for the Texas Monarchs, Trinity Schlotterbeck got the win of the opener on Thursday. For the season, has given up 7 earned runs in 13 2/3 innings through 4 scoreless innings in the opener on Thursday. Into the batter's box, the leadoff hitter, Sierra Bryan for Hub City, should be followed by Destiny Brown and Peyton Lopez here in the first inning, and the finale is underway on this hot 91-degree Sunday afternoon here in Central Texas.
Bryan, of course, her reputation has preceded her, and 6 for 7 in the past 2 ball games alone. Across the 2 games has hit for the cycle, led off last night's game with a triple, scored the only run of the game for Hub City. And the way things started for Hub City last night, you felt like there was some offense coming.
Yeah, 2 batters into the game. The Adelitas scored a run, but after that, crickets as the ground ball starts the game with an out. The offense held scoreless after those 2 batters held to just 4 hits over the final 6 innings.
There was exceptional defense. We saw Hot in center field with a couple of spectacular plays, but also, and I pointed this out, the Monarchs made all of the routine plays. Out after out after out.
No errors yesterday for the Monarchs, or for that matter, the Adelitas. Nobody on, one away for Destiny Brown. So far in the series, 2 for 7, and drove in the only run yesterday in the 3-1 loss.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but you know, we've seen Schlotterbeck, when she's not pitching, serve as the DP. Well, she got last night off. Should be fresh.
1 ball, 1 strike against Destiny Brown. The loss last night for the Adelitas, their 3rd straight and their 5th over the last 6 games.
Meanwhile, the Texas Smoke keep on cranking, keep on churning along.
2 balls, 1 strike. Yeah, the Smoke winning again last night at Coastal Bend. And with that, the Smoke a 2-game lead for first over the Monarchs, who are 4-3. And a 2-way tie for third between the Adelitas and Tidal Wave, both teams 2-5. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
As you and I went through our scouting reports getting ready for this afternoon's game, we were both reminded, though, just last weekend, the Smoke had knocked off the Monarchs in the first 3 games of that series, and it almost seemed like a formality that the Smoke would win Game 4, and the Monarchs had other ideas.
Yeah, that did not happen. Ground ball hit back to Schlotterbeck. 2 outs in the first inning. 2 up, 2 away. And with the bases empty, that's going to bring up Peyton Lopez.
See Schlotterbeck showing off some of her athleticism, able to pounce out of the circle, field her position, serve as an extra defender.
You see Lopez wearing the Portland State Viking batting helmet, her alma mater. So far in the series, 2 for 6 with a couple of walks drawn, and batting 3rd of the order here today. If memory serves, Portland State the only Division I school with a Viking nickname? Or am I missing somebody?
I'm going to say yes, but under advisement. Give me a minute.
All right. Grounded foul. The count runs to 1-2.
You said Division I.
D1. We can, if we start going into the D3 and NAIA ranks, this is going to be a long game. Swing and a miss. Soderbeck with a strikeout and a 1-2-3 first inning for the former FAU Owl. And with that, we go to the bottom of the first. Texas Monarchs coming to bat for the first time. They're playing for a sweep today over the Hub City Adelitas in San Marcos. Making her third appearance of the series and her second start is Chloe Temples. Made her first career pro start on Friday. Was saddled with a loss, but went 6 1/3 in that game. Only gave up 3 earned runs. Her defense didn't really help her a lot, and the other 3 runs allowed were unearned. Temples from BYU. 5 strikeouts so far in her first week as a pro. In the circle today for Hub City. The leadoff batter for the Monarchs is Briley St. Clair hitting leadoff yet again. Should be followed by Kylie Sand and Sarah Vanderford here in the top half, or the bottom half rather, of the first inning. A team coming off its 4th straight win, and the victory last night, winning 3-1. The winning streak the longest in the league currently, and now the Monarchs over 500 for the first time in franchise history.
And doing it in all phases. Offense, defense, pitching, base running. Doing a lot of things really well. It hasn't been a fluke.
Yeah, their first accomplice this series. We opened the broadcast talking about that. First ever run rule victory on Thursday, and the first ever walk-off win against Temples on Friday.
See the Adelitas in at the corners. St. Clair, we've already seen her speed on display.
Has made a habit of getting on base in the series. A couple of hits and 3 walks drawn for Briley St. Clair.
Remember her hit yesterday. She smacked the ball right off of home plate, and Vaquero, the third baseman, really had no chance of making the play at first. Good wheels atop the lineup for the Monarchs.
It feels like the Monarchs lineup has been fairly consistent game to game, but for the Adelitas, there have been changes throughout the series, both in the lineup and defensively. You referenced Viscar at third yesterday. Well, Casey Flores is at third base today for Hub City, and we also saw Majo Gonzalez make her series debut in the outfield and right today. Those honors going to Jace Marie Fernandez.
Yeah, we've seen it in the batting order, and I think that symbolizes the fact that the Monarchs are winning and the Adelitas are looking to get back into the win column. Right, it's a coaching staff that feels comfortable coming to the ballpark, and the coaching staff for Hub City right now trying to figure it out. Still early on in the season, but as I say that, you have to remember that it's not like that 162 game schedule you and I have referenced. You can't get cold for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and expect to recover.
You're kind of similar in that sense to that of a college season, where every game, especially conference play, is magnified.
Yeah.
But your other reference there was a Major League Baseball season where, 162 games. When you play game 73, there's not that magnifying glass on it.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Count fills 3-2. We were in that Viking conversation. Our producer, Victoria Heim, chimed in. Northern Kentucky is the Norse. I argue, well, that's not Vikings. She says that's splitting hairs.
Yeah, they're spelled differently, right? Temples, we saw it from her the other night. She's very deliberate in terms of her tempo, how quickly she gets the ball and gets it to the plate, in contrast to some of the pitchers we've seen.
There's a pop-up left side of the infield, and one away in the bottom of the first inning. Catch made by McKenna Brocky. Maybe the equivalent of that would be a team with the Wolves nickname. Is Wolves and Wolfpack the same thing? I say no.
It's not? Yeah, but that's a debate, I'm sure, that's taken place in living rooms and restaurants.
Thanksgiving dinners have been ruined for years, arguing this point. One out for Kylie Sand, the former Rutgers Scarlet Knight. 3 for 8 of the series. Fouls it back for strike one.
We remember the game on Friday night. Bridging from the end of the first inning to the third inning, Temple's retired 7 straight Monarchs. It's looking really good. And then again, as you've mentioned, the Monarchs were able to string together some hits, some not so good defense by Hub City, and lo and behold, a 6-5 victory for the Texas Monarchs.
That's strike two. Tipples began her college career at Stetson on the topic of rare mascot names, the Hatters, and then finished her career in Provo, Utah, BYU. 3 seasons pitching for the Cougars.
Little different geography.
Very.
between Stetson and BYU.
Stetson, Florida, just outside of Orlando, kind of central Florida. No balls, 2 strikes. Struck her out looking on a pitch on the outer half. Sand does not agree, and that's now 2 outs in the inning.
Both pitchers have come out throwing strikes, and that's a path to success. Just on the outside black.
And how about the job that Peyton Lopez did framing that pitch as well? It looked like it dropped out of the zone. The moment that ball hit the mitt, she's bringing it right back up.
Yeah. Gave Jenna Bullion, our home plate umpire, a good look at it.
Baniford sends that one out of play. What a series so far for the former Texas State Bobcat, playing in her home digs. 4 for 7. She has homered twice, and 8 RBI for Vanderford 3 games in.
It's been incredible, because any rookie, any league, you ask yourself, will there be an adjustment? And Sarah Vanderford, she's taken this WPF stuff by the horns. Really good. Big time, meaningful base knocks.
1 ball, 1 strike. Emily Hott waits on deck. We are still in search of our first base runner of the game. And one of the 2 homers that Vanderford has this series came off of Temples. Happened on Friday. Swung on, a drive to left. The Park's going to hold this, and the catch is made by Destiny Brown. So each pitcher turns in a 1-2-3 first inning. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, we are through 1. We head to the second. No score in the series finale here in San Marcos. After school is first, we go to the second to look at Hub City. Adelitas head coach Jamie Juarez, first season as the Adelitas head coach, and again currently an assistant at the Division I level at Cal State Fullerton for head coach Kelly Ford for the Titans, who went 39-18 this year and reached the NCAA tournament playing in the Stanford Regional in Palo Alto. Going into the top of the second, it's Emily. Flip the scorebook, Brant. Daisy Munoz, McKenna Brocky, and Emily Bracamonte coming up for Hub City.
Yeah, 3 up and 3 down was something that was rare yesterday, as the Monarchs had just 2 3 up and 3 down innings, and Hub City just one of them.
So far, Daisy Munoz for Hub City, 2 for 6 in the series with a double and 2 runs batted in. There's a ground ball to third. Vanderford makes the play. 4 up, 4 down so far for Trinity Schlotterbeck to start the game.
Schlotterbeck, it's been early contact, early outs through the first 4 batters.
Yeah, 3 ground ball outs, sandwiched around a strikeout of Lopez. So with 1 away, here comes McKenna Brocky. The Adelitas shortstop looks at a strike. It's 0-1.
Boy, inside corner low. Not much Brocky could have done with that had she pulled the trigger. Goes right back to it.
You know, we brought up college team names earlier. Always intrigued by the unique ones you only hear for one team or so, because there's so many team names that are used multiple times over. A lot of Bulldogs, Wildcats out there. Did you know there are 5 schools with the Aggie nickname? Division I, by the way.
Right, A&M, Utah State instantly come to mind. New Mexico State.
Too short.
Okay, go ahead.
Cal Davis.
Cal Davis.
North Carolina A&T.
And North Carolina A&T. You know, I spent some time at Clemson.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. And
Tigers.
Right, but right up the road in Greenville, South Carolina, I think one of the coolest nicknames, mascots, the Furman Paladins.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one of them.
I would have thought there would have been more 49ers. Just the one in Charlotte.
And, of course, the NFL team is in San Francisco.
That's a foul ball, by the way.
And, you know, San Francisco 49ers, that all ties back to the great gold rush in the state of California back in the day. I'd love, and I know you have the internets, I'd love to know how did Charlotte come up with that name?
That is a wonderful.
It has to be tied to the year 1849.
I would think.
Yeah.
Well, the logo has a pickaxe in it, as if it's somebody who's mining for gold, right?
Yeah. As we know, Charlotte, North Carolina is kind of at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Maybe there was some mining going on.
Ground ball to third. Another play made by Vanderford. 5 up, 5 down for Schlotterbeck.
We do know this. So far, Schlotterbeck, she hasn't had to do much digging for outs.
Right on cue, sir. As we talk about mining for something. Brings up Emily Bracamonte. You know, another team name used quite a bit, Bears. There are 7 Division I schools with that name. Don't worry about trying to remember them all. Nothing in 2 to Bracamonte, who's 1 for 6 so far in the series. Played for a school with another rare team name, Central Michigan. The
Chippewas.
There we go.
Sorry, I was doing some research here.
Is that about the 49er name? Way out of the zone, ball 1.
Bracamonte in the series opener on Thursday was 0 for 1 with a sack bunt, 8-0. The Monarchs won on Thursday, and we've had back-to-back really good, well-contested softball games. Expect the same today.
Slaughterback through 2 innings has not allowed a base runner. 6 up, 6 down with a strikeout along the way. We head to the bottom of the second. You're watching Women's Pro Fast Pitch on the official WPF YouTube channel. Heading into the bottom of the second as Candace Fenton-Bachbrader looks on, the Texas Monarchs head coach in her first season as a head coach of the WPF. And again, currently the Division I head coach at Bowling Green. The Falcons out of the MAC, former player for Bowling Green back in the early 2000s. Her team batting in the bottom of the second of a scoreless game. Emily Hotbatch lead off here for the Monarchs. Takes strike one.
It's a team game, right? Everybody contributes, but I don't think there'd be much argument that Hot had her name stamped all over yesterday's win, both offensively and defensively.
You could argue that outside of Vanderford, Hot has been the best batter in the series for Texas so far. She's 3 for 5, a couple of doubles and a run batted in.
Scored 2 of the 3 runs yesterday for the Monarchs. But the 2 plays defensively, one coming in and making a diving stab of a line drive, and then another one, she went on the run to the power alley and left center to rob extra bases. In a 2-run game, you don't have to use much imagination to figure out those are all pivotal plays.
Good power numbers this year for Hot at Baylor. Career high 11 home runs to include her first ever Grand Slam in a game against BYU. And here she is facing a former BYU pitcher in Temples. Rolls that one foul. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes.
You umpires out there know how that's worked in the umpiring crew, where Jenna Bouillon, the home plate umpire, it's her call until the ball gets past the bag, where Paul Boyd, the first base umpire, would then make the ruling. So good job by the crew. We've had great umpiring so far this season as well. I think we need to point that out.
Foul back, Hot got a piece.
And keep in mind, and as you have so very well pointed out, Brant, the umpiring crew doesn't have the benefit of the review system. So, you know, they understand, these umpires do, that their calls are going to stand.
Lily Piper waits on deck. A ball and 2 strikes. Now 2-2. Do you think then, in the college game, that at times umpires make calls knowing there's a safety net? I'm going to call it out. I'm not sure, but I know the replay is going to confirm that or not.
I don't know, and my days of umpiring are long gone. But I think maybe even subconsciously, you feel like, especially when it's a bang-bang, immediately after the play, you think to yourself, okay, well, let's go to the monitor and let's get it right, because I think all umpires, that's what they want, is for the play to be adjudicated correctly. There have been a few plays where broadcasters, fans, players, coaches have thought, man, would have liked to have seen that one again. Kind of old school, huh?
Full count to Hott. Leadoff batter here in the bottom of the second inning. And now Hott calls for time. You know, there's been a big push in both softball and baseball to try to speed the game up. So we have a pitch clock now, albeit there is not one in the WPF. As the 3-2 comes, and Hott swings and misses. Second strikeout for Temples, and one out here in the second.
Boy, that was a tremendous pitch against a really hot hitter. Get a look at it here. Just absolutely fell off the table.
It's now 2 punch outs for Temples. Bases empty and one out. That'll send up Lily Piper. And so again, these efforts to speed up the game. But then you add an instant replay, and that kind of slows it back down. However, many make the argument, well, the goal is Piper with a fly ball to right center, and that's going to bounce off the bottom of the wall. Piper on her way to second base with a one-out double.
Piper's been looking for, a solid base knock in this series, and she gets one there. Pitch, we'll take a look at it up in the zone. I think Temples wanted that to be even higher to try to induce Piper to swing under it, and she did not. That was barrel to ball.
That is the second hit of the series for Piper, 5th of the year, and her first double here in the 2024 season. And for the Monarchs as a team, that is their 4th double of the series. Now Kelly Torres with the runner in scoring position. First pitch, a fly ball to right. Fernandez the catch. Piper's going to tag on her way to third. And a productive out there for Piper. That's going to bring up Jenna Keene with 2 outs.
Fernandez in right field, if we get a look at it again, on the fly ball, if you know the runner's tagging, you want to set yourself up so your momentum is going towards the bag you're throwing to. And watch Fernandez at the very end. See that drop step? So she has to reset and make a throw that I don't think would be as strong as if she had played from behind the ball, through the ball, and then make the throw to third base.
Didn't see Keene play last night for the series, 1 for 3. Batting with 2 outs in the second. And takes the ball outside. You always wonder the story behind jersey numbers for players. And 64 is a very unique number for Jenna Keene. Well, the story behind that, very admirable. She's pursuing a career as a firefighter and is currently driving an ambulance in Orange County, Southern California. Her station is station number 64. That's why she wears that jersey number for the Monarchs this year.
Yeah, great story. And looks like a foul tip there, but great story. And we tip our caps. I know everybody here, everybody across the audience tip our caps to all of the firefighters out there, first responders. And I know that her station, very, very proud of her, as well they should be. In a world of funny details, I was actually in Orange County at the Anaheim Convention Center a couple of weeks ago, right down the street.
Bunt put down. Temples fields her position. The throw is high. Gets away from Bracamonte off her glove into right. That's going to bring in the game's first run, and it is 1-0 Monarchs.
Well executed on the bunt by Keene. Got up the line in a hurry. It's a long way to go for Bracamonte, the second baseman. And Temples is turning blindly and throwing to a moving target. And it's something you and I have talked about, Brant, through the early part of the season. These are great players, but they haven't played together. And so you wonder if timing and practice and repetitions will help, for example, Hub City execute a play like that.
So Keene, the RBI bunt single, her second RBI of the year. A 2-out run has given the Monarchs a 1-0 lead. And now today's DH, Laywood Day.
How big was that sack, that fly out to right field that allowed Piper to go from second to third? It's the little things, right, that don't get reported on in the game recap.
Sure. Yeah, you look at Torres in the scorebook, it'll go down as an F9, but it was a productive fly out. The extra bases you alluded to and leads to a run scoring.
And those are the things the Monarchs have been doing in this 4-game winning streak that, again, maybe don't get amplified, but are critical.
Swing and a miss, 1-2, but a tough series so far for Day, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts.
I think you made the comment on Friday night, kind of feast or famine, her ABs right now.
When she puts the ball in play, she hits it really hard.
Yeah.
Well, now Lyndon Baptiste, our third base umpire, just pointed to his wrist. So there is a pitch clock, but I don't see one operable in the stadium. Perhaps it's just being kept by the crew.
The second base umpire.
So the clock,
third base.
Yeah, clock expired, and so that awards a ball the ball strike count. Never mind.
No, it's good to know, though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I made the point earlier, Temples is very deliberate, right? She gets the ball back from the catcher, and there's more than one way to get the job done, but certainly she is not as quick to the plate as we've seen from other pitchers, particularly this weekend.
Swing and a miss, and Day strikes out again. 3 strikeouts on the day for Chloe Temples, but the Monarchs have a 1-0 lead. A run scoring with 2 outs. Temples ends the frame with a strikeout. Ahead of the third, 1-0, Texas on top. Another hot afternoon here in Central Texas, 91 degrees outside, but you see the flags blowing at about 7 miles an hour. On this Sunday afternoon, 4th and final game of the series. Monarchs playing for a sweep. Adelitas trying to salvage a game with their first trip to San Marcos. 1-0. Monarchs on top as we head to the top of the third inning. Coming up, bottom third of the order for Hub City. Flores, Perry, and Fernandez. 1 ball to no strikes to Casey Flores, who hits leadoff here for the Adelitas in the third.
Yeah, Flores not in the lineup yesterday after playing on Friday, and did have a couple of tough plays defensively, but good to see her back in the lineup.
So I was starting to get into a conversation with you about trying to speed up the game, but then replay kind of conflicts things a little bit because it does slow things down. But the majority of folks say, well, you want to get the call right. Are you of the opinion that, you know, as we see a base hit smoked up the middle from Flores for a leadoff base hit, you're a fan of instant replay? You would rather have it than not, yeah?
Correct.
Okay.
With certain limits.
Now, I remember when replays, we see replay the base hit here, was first introduced to the NFL, there was a time limit. If the replay official could not determine the outcome of the call after 90 seconds, whatever the call on the field was, stood. For some reason, that went away. And there are times you see a replay, they want to see angle after angle after angle, make sure you have the time and the clock right. Next thing you know, 7 or 8 minutes of real time have expired.
And I said a moment ago, with certain limitations, and that is the biggest one. There has to be a time limit, in my opinion.
And if there is, then the rule should be whatever the original call was has to stand.
Absolutely. If you have to dig for 10 minutes to find something to reverse the call that was made on the field, on the ice, on the court, then that's a problem.
2 balls, 1 strike. The DH, Justice Perry, is batting. 0 for 5 of the series with a couple of walks for the former Auburn Tiger. Count evens 2-2. A player that found her way to first base in a lot of painful ways at Auburn. Hit by a pitch 40 times in her Tigers career.
Looking for her first hit in this series, 0 for 5 with a couple of walks and hit by pitch.
Again, the starting pitcher yesterday for Hub City, Lexi Handley, yes, ended her career at Ohio State, but 3 years at Auburn. So these two teammates for a long time in Auburn, Alabama. Perry and Handley. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 2 for Slaughterback. 1 away.
How about Schlotterbeck after giving up her first base runner of the day? Flores, her single up the middle. She just comes right back and competes. Confidence in her stuff clearly. Talk about the issues that Hub City have been having with runners in scoring position. 4 for 23. Well, this weekend, the Adelitas 6 for 35 with runners on.
A lot of meat left on the bone for Hub City. 18 runners left on base. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
Like all of these players, Fernandez, an interesting story. She played in the 2019 Senior League Softball World Series for Team Latin America. She also participated in MLB's Girls Baseball Development Program once upon a time.
There was a player for the Texas Smoke we saw last week whose upbringing was all baseball and didn't make the switch to softball until really late in her prep career.
Can I make a prediction? If you surveyed the two teams, the players on these teams, you would find a lot of that.
Yeah.
I know just here in what I'm going to call the greater Austin area, San Marcos, San Antonio, you go to youth baseball games, and you see a lot of girls, young women out there competing and competing well.
Fernandez goes down looking. Back-to-back Ks for Slaughterbeck after the leadoff base hit from Flores. That'll bring us back at the top of the Adelitas order.
You go across the United States of America, small town, itty-bitty town America, and unfortunately, there are a lot of small towns that don't offer softball programs.
Pop up by Sierra Bryan. Bryan's 0 for 2 today. And after the leadoff base hit, nothing doing for Hub City. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Slaughterbeck and the Monarchs on top of the Adelitas. 1-0 here in San Marcos. Fans trying to stay cool on this hot Sunday afternoon here at Texas State's Bobcats softball stadium. As we head to the bottom of the third innings, Monarchs fans in attendance here, and the home team is on top 1-0 and leading the series 3-0. An 8-0 run rule victory on Thursday started things off. A walk-off win on Friday, a 3-1 victory last night, and playing for the sweep today. Devin Flaherty hits leadoff in the 9-hole of the order for the Monarchs. It is Flaherty, St. Clair, and Sand coming up here for Texas.
I'll add this, Brant, your point about Monarchs fans in attendance, and that's for sure, but also the Adelitas. They brought some fans here to the ballpark as we've been around this weekend. Great to see both teams having support out here.
That ball lined to the shortstop, Rocky. And one away for Chloe Temples here in the bottom of the third.
The fans here in the area, of course, will have an opportunity to be back out here again this upcoming week. Independence Day, a lot going on with that celebration, and can come out and celebrate women's professional fast pitch softball.
Yeah, the series here next week, July 4th through the 7th. Hub City taking on the reigning champion Texas Smoke. The Monarchs, meanwhile, on the road for the first time as they head to Coastal Bend for a 4-game series against the Tidal Wave. That ball in the air to center, right to Bryan. 2 quick outs for Temples in the third, and St. Clair's 0 for 2.
Do you and I get to go down to the beach and work that series, take the bathing suits and the coolers?
Are we wearing these on the air and using the coolers while we're on the air?
Or we're here, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, I need to look at the assignment schedule.
I guess we could split. One could be here, one could be there. Kylie Sand digs in. Chloe Temples attacking the strike zone right now. And ahead 0-1.
Yeah, both pitchers in this game. Schlotterbeck for the Monarchs and Temples. It was the big extra base hit to lead off the second inning, that Piper. That's the significant difference in this game so far. Other than that, both pitchers have been electric.
The week after next, July 11th through the 14th, these two will meet again. In fact, that particular week, all 4 teams will be here. There will be 4 straight doubleheaders that week. 4-game series between the Monarchs and Adelitas, and a 4-game series between the Smoke and Tidal Wave.
Do you have the cough drops ready?
Oh, man. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now 1-2.
So let me get out my calculator. So double headers, 4 straight days. That's 8 games. So that's 56 innings of high-level softball that our YouTube audience will be able to check out. Fans here at the stadium. Promises to be a great weekend.
When you put it that way, maybe we'll have some cough drops on hand. Struck her out looking. That's the 4th strikeout for Temples at a 1-2-3 third. 3 innings quickly in the books in San Marcos. We go to the 4th at a 1-0 game. Monarchs on top, but the Adelitas coming up to bat when we return in a moment. We are in the second week of the Women's Pro Fast Pitch season. And for more information on the league, including merchandise, access to social media channels, and more, log on to WProFastPitch.com. Speaking of social media channels, if you want to take a look at the entire 2024 season schedule, it's available on the WPF Instagram page. To the fourth inning we go in a 1-0 game. Monarchs on top. Coming up, Destiny Brown, Peyton Lopez, and Daisy Munoz for the Adelitas here in the fourth inning.
WPF coaches across the league, when they do their scouting report on Hub City, they tell their pitchers you have to keep Bryan and Brown off the bases. And so far today, Schlotterbeck and her teammates have done that.
Schlotterbeck has faced just one more than the minimum so far. Only a single base runner allowed. The leadoff base hit from Flores in the third inning. That's been it. Swing and a miss, struck her out. Strikeout number 3 and 1 away.
Boy, right on cue. So Bryan and Brown are combined 0 for 4 today. Part of the recipe for the Monarchs to win this ball game, again, is to keep those two off because they can be so disruptive. Such a big part of this Hub City offense.
You know, we didn't see huge strikeout numbers from Schlotterbeck in her first 4 appearances of the year. 13 1/3 innings pitched, just 3 punch-outs. She has 3 already in this game. You look back at her final year at FAU, and her last start against Florida Gulf Coast had 9 strikeouts in that game, so she has the stuff.
We made the same point about Wesley yesterday. Her days at Mississippi State, she was striking people out. The first few times we saw her in a Monarchs uniform, not high strikeout numbers, but had 4 yesterday.
I think the clear observation many would make would be this is professional softball now.
Different lineups?
Yeah. Lopez takes a strike, 1 and 2. Schlotterbeck also a tremendous two-way player for the Owls. This year, 16 wins in the circle with an ERA of 2.67 and with a bat in her hands at 293, homered 10 times and drove in 47.
Is yesterday the first game in which she didn't appear?
I believe you're correct, whether they be at the plates
Right.
or in the circle. Well, she's dealing today. Lopez 0 for 2. And the base is empty, 2 outs. That'll bring up Daisy Munoz.
Munoz, speaking of Fullerton, speaking of Anaheim, LA area, hotbed for prep softball.
Have to imagine that she and Adelitas head coach Jamie Warres a tight relationship. Warres again on the staff at Cal State Fullerton, where Munoz rather, played her college softball. Swung on towards center. That's down for a base hit. Hot, feels it well though. That's going to hold Munoz to a single.
Great hit. Munoz showing off her power there. That was a line drive shot off the barrel. And we've seen this time and time again this weekend in the outfield. Hot does a tremendous job of taking the correct angle, cutting that ball off. Otherwise, you have a runner in scoring position with 2 down.
Third hit of the series for Munoz. With 2 away, brings up McKenna Brocky. So far in the series with 2 outs with that base hit, the Adelitas are 7 for 25. And Bill's talked about the inability, though, to come up with hits with runners on. 0 for 3 in this game.
Yeah, there's been traffic, it feels like, throughout even Thursday in the 8-0 run rule game. It wasn't as though Hub City, was devoid of base runners.
Left 7 on. And they had 5 free passes in the game, 4 walks and a hit batter.
Yeah.
3 balls, 1 strike. Schlotterbeck has yet to walk a batter. A behind here against Brocky. That ball going to fall foul. Fills the count 3-2.
Even saw it there, albeit a foul ball, but with 2 down, of course, Munoz can be off with the crack of the bat. Gives her a little bit of an advantage running the bases. A lot of speed in the outfield, though, for the Monarchs. From, you have St. Clair in left and center field hot over and right. Keene can fly as well.
The infield defense has also been really good for the Monarchs in the series. Vanderford at third base and Flaherty is short. Left side has been tremendous. Sanders played well at second, and Piper a lot of time at first. There you go. Line shot right to Piper, and that will end the inning. So 2-out hits is all the Adelitas can muster. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. That infield defense again doing some work for the Monarchs in the series and protecting a 1-0 lead. Again, you're watching Women's Pro Fast Pitch on the official WPF YouTube channel. We always invite those who are watching to chime in on the live chats. We've had some questions asked on the live chat. Last question from Cynthia Frazier wanting to know if these two teams are new to the league, and the answer is yes. Last year, there were 4 teams in the league, the only one returning, the Texas Smoke. So 3 expansion franchises, these two, the Adelitas and the Monarchs, and the other, the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave, making up the 4-team league. Sarah Vanderford, first bat of the inning, pops it up. And the second baseman, Bracamonte, makes the catch. Vanderford's 0 for 2, and 1 out here in the 4th.
Yeah, Temple's able to climb the ladder on Vanderford and get it just above her bat, where Vanderford couldn't go up and get it. We've seen Vanderford barrel up a number of balls the past couple of weekends. And back to the question from Cynthia and your response there, Brant, I look for the league to grow. As momentum continues throughout the 2024 season, look forward to other folks getting on board. If you go to the WPF website, you scroll to the footer at the bottom there, you see all of the sponsors who are invested and who are supporting this league. And a lot of pro leagues, you look at the history of professional sports, and I'm not talking softball, I'm talking sports overall. You understand that leagues, it takes a while to get your footing and to grow, to expand, get support, and the WPF is no different in that regard.
One of those sponsors, Bill referenced, their name is emblazoned on that bat of Hots, Marucci.
Yeah. Applause to Marucci and all the others. Marucci, of course, not just a supporter of WPF professional softball, but across a variety of bat and ball sport levels. But there are others as well, and encourage everybody to keep that in mind.
Not only is this the first year for these franchises, but it's only the second year of the league. Started last year. The league was first formed in 2021, but they didn't play their first season until 2023.
Yeah, if folks want to put on your history caps, go to the Googles, go to the internets, and look up the history of, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, WNBA, etc. Those leagues look a lot different today than they did once upon a time.
Fouled away by Hot, fills the count 3-2. Emily Hot, again, wrapped up her career at Baylor not long ago. 5 seasons in Waco, 230 starts, so a lot of softball under her belt, and has had a productive series this weekend. Full count from Chloe Temples, and we'll do it again.
After all the traffic we've seen this weekend on the base paths, there have been a combined exactly 4 base runners in this game to this point.
Each team 2 hits, the 1 run for the Monarchs in the second. Clean defense so far, no errors committed, and only 3 runners left on.
And maybe Lily Piper's base running, the biggest play of the game so far, her going from second to third on Torres's fly out to right. How many game recaps do you see where the title makes reference to a tag up?
Yeah, not many. Again today, the Monarchs playing for their first ever series sweep. They've won the first 3 games. Last 2, though, very competitive after a run rule victory on Thursday. Good battle here between Hot and Temples. For the Adelitas, trying to salvage a game this weekend before returning to San Marcos next week. Also trying to end a season-long 3-game losing streak.
For those of you just getting caught up on the WPF schedule, Hub City started the season off taking on fellow expansion team, the Tidal Wave. Meanwhile, the Monarchs were facing the defending league champs, the Smoke.
Hot pops it up, and Munoz tried to make that play. The ball just out of her reach. And the at-bat will continue. Opening weekend, the Adelitas won opening day, a walk-off win. And it was Flores, Casey Flores, at third base today for the Adelitas with a walk-off 3-run homer to win that game. The Tidal Wave then won games 2 and 3. Hub City battled back, won the finale last Sunday. That ball line fouled again.
Munoz is busy down there at first base, and you can see how Temples is trying to work Hot, right? Trying to stay away from the barrel of the bat, trying to keep Hot from extending her arms.
I think we're up to 9 pitches in the at-bat now.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Let's see if Temples goes back outside.
I would think, because Hot's pulling everything right now. How about the job of a catcher in the series, right? You know, yesterday we described the temperatures, you know, here in Central Texas. It's going to be this way the entire summer. You're back there with all that gear on, catching when the temperatures are in the mid to upper 90s, in some cases triple digits. That makes for a long day. We talked about all those double headers coming up as well, albeit each team is not, the teams themselves aren't playing a doubleheader. There's 2 games at this ballpark that day. That is a tough job. It's Hot, strikes out. After all of that, Temples gets her, strikeout number 5, and 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, what a battle between Temples and Hot. Middle. Challenge Hot and gets the strikeout. But to your point about the catchers, yeah, I said last night, you know, wearing that gear, not easy. It's something I did once upon a time, and nobody on the field is cheering for the pitcher to get off the field ASAP than the catcher is on a day like today.
Nobody on, 2 out for Lily Piper. doubled and scored the game's only run back in the second. And Chloe Temples continues to impress in the series.
Can I add this as well?
Mm-hmm.
What about Jenna Bouillon, the home plate umpire behind
Yeah.
home plate? She's got gear on as well. Her umpiring crew wearing black today.
Popped up by Piper. And no play for the Adelitas.
Yeah, there you go, folks. How about you put a mask on, find a chest protector, a couple of shin guards, and go stand in your backyard.
For what, 2+ hours?
Right?
Yeah.
Not for the faint of heart.
So Temples in the series now has thrown 11 innings, 10 strikeouts for her, so about a punch out per inning, and just the 4 earned runs given up. She has a series ERA currently of 2.55.
She's pitched well. You mentioned Friday night gave up just 3 earned runs in what ended up being a 6-5 loss for Hub City.
Temples, kind of a late ad for the Adelitas as well, signed a week ago today, June 23rd. And one could argue that 2 weekends in, she's been the best pitcher for Hub City.
Hanley pitched well yesterday. It looks like Hub City set up with a couple of really good lefties.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Piper with a fly ball towards foul territory, out of the reach of Munoz.
Munoz getting a workout.
Yes.
Over at first base, talking about getting your steps in. Go back to Hott's at bat, and now Piper and Munoz having to move the puppies over there.
Again, that ball headed that way, and again, it's Munoz on the run. So you mentioned
Munoz slaps her glove against the side fencing.
mentioned puppies. We saw a dog in the park yesterday. We've seen Sarah Vanderford's dog out here for a few games, 2 weekends into the season. Don't think we've seen a 4-legged friend out here today. Although with the weather being what it is, probably best to keep your dogs at home.
Yeah, well said, partner.
Cap fills to Piper. It's funny, Temples is a pitch away from a 1-2-3 inning, but she will have worked really hard if she gets that. A lot of pitches thrown here in the bottom of the 4th.
Earlier, we saw Allie Light throwing down in the Hub City bullpen, getting loose, and you can't imagine, even though I'm going to contradict myself, we saw both pitchers go the distance yesterday, but you wouldn't think today, should this game go 7 innings, that both pitchers would go the whole way, but we'll see.
That ball line to the shortstop, Rocky. And Temples does get that 1-2-3 4th inning. The 3rd time today she has retired the side in order. We head to the 5th inning in a 1-run game. A lot of pitching so far for both the Monarchs and the Adelitas, but Texas on top of Hub City, 1-0 here in San Marcos. Through 4 innings, this has been a pitcher's duel here at Bobcat Softball Stadium. Chloe Temples for the Adelitas, up to 5 strikeouts through 4 innings of work, has given up just 1 run on 2 hits. Meanwhile, Trinity Slaughterbeck for the Monarchs through 4 innings has 3 strikeouts of her own, no runs surrendered, and just a couple of singles given up as we go to the 5th inning in a 1-0 game. First pitch of the inning, a ground ball to Flaherty, the shortstop, and Bracamonte out by a step. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the 5th.
Nice play there by Flaherty. Understood that she had a little bit of time to get set and make that strong, accurate throw over to Lily Piper at first base. For FAU fans, Trinity Schlotterbeck being successful isn't news to them. It's been mentioned. FAU 16-7, a 2.67 ERA. Those are good numbers.
Just saw Flaherty make that play short. On the topic of infield defense, a change on the right side of the infield for the Monarchs. Kylie Sand is out, and Sarah Fessler has taken her place at second base. And there is Fessler. Sarah Fessler from Cleveland, Ohio, former Youngstown State Penguin. On the topic of team names you don't hear very often.
I've seen Fessler in right field a lot so far in the 2024 season. Didn't see anything happen to Sand that would have indicated that this is health related.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Flores, her base hit, you'll remember, it was a missile right through the box into center field. I'm trying to think, other than Flores, her before mentioned single, how many balls have been barreled up today by Hub City?
Yeah, not a lot. The 2 singles have been it. Munoz and Flores.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot Munoz, her single. So 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, two hard shots. Other than that, it's been chopper kind of ground balls, balls in the air.
You know, Brocky had a hard hit line out to end the top of the 4th inning. But yeah, most of the outs, as you said, have been weakly hit grounders or pop-ups.
You're right. The one at Piper. You're exactly right.
But Flores on for the 2nd time, and a 1-out walk will bring up the tying run on base. Also bring up Justice Perry to the plate. The first walk of the game given up by Slaughterbeck.
Perry still in search for her first base hit.
There you go. Gets it through the left side. And for the first time today, the Adelitas have a runner in scoring position.
There's no activity in the Monarchs bullpen, so there's a timeout on the field right through the 5-6 hole. Sarah Vanderford has made a number of nice plays this weekend going to her left, but no chance there to come up with that ground ball, the former Bobcat.
So a meeting right now with Tyler Gunnell center the circle, assistant coach on this Monarch staff, along with head coach Finn Bachbrader. So the first real trouble of the day here for Slaughterbeck. And a pinch hitter is going to come up as well for the Adelitas. And so Slaughterbeck will not face Jace Marie Fernandez. Instead, it's going to bring up Diana Vizcarra. So the runners on base. At second is Flores, a tying run. The go-ahead run, Perry at first. And here is Vizcarra, who did start last night for the series, 1 for 3 with a strikeout.
Singled in the 5th inning of last night's 3-1 win for the Monarchs.
An early advantage here for Vizcarra, 1 ball, no strikes. As we've talked about throughout the weekend, one of many Adelitas players that also played in the Mexican League back in the winter. Ground ball to third. Vanderford going to scoop and throw in time for the outs. In that situation, you'll see a lot of third basemen maybe wait to see if the ball is going to roll foul, but Vanderford plays it aggressive, and it pays off for the second out.
Yeah, and Vanderford doesn't get a whole lot of time to decide, right? I know as she's charging the ball, she's trying to read that spin, read the angle. And once you decide you're going to field and throw, you've got to be all in. Nice play by Vanderford, but look who's up to bat.
It's Sarah Bryan facing Soderbeck for a third time today. And again, saw her a couple of times on Thursday as well, 3 times in fact. So this is the 6th time she's faced Soderbeck, and now with runners on base.
And we contact the first 2 ABs for Bryan today off Schlotterbeck. So Hub City fans are yelling at the screen, she's due.
Has dug herself an early 0-2 hole. Bill talked about the weekly hit outs, a ground out to second, and a pop-up as well. And that's a good job by Torres to get a piece of that ball and force it up the third base line. That means that the runner at third, Flores, can't come home.
Well, catcher's so important because Schlotterbeck wants to be able to pitch low in the zone. You can't do that unless you have trust in your catcher. Exceptional play by the former Duke Blue Devil.
A number that Bill has harped on throughout the broadcast has been the Adelitas' inability to come through with runners on. For the game, they are 1 for 6 with them in scoring position in this series. They are 4 for 24.
Yeah, that's tough, and it's hard to win ball games, regardless of how you pitch or how you defend.
Swung on the ground as seconds, and Soderbeck is out of the jam, and Bryant is 0 for 3. A walk and a base hit, but the Adelitas strand 2, both in scoring position. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Soderbeck still protecting a 1-0 lead. For 8 weeks this summer, this is the sights of WPF softball. Next week, the series happening here in San Marcos will take place between the Hub City Adelitas, who will be making another trip to San Marcos against the host, reigning champion Texas Smoke. The Smoke this week on the road at Coastal Bend, but they are back home next week for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday 4-game series against Hub City. About to wrap up week 2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th in this finale, and the Monarchs on top of the Adelitas 1-0, and again playing for a sweep here this afternoon.
Want to encourage everybody traveling over the holiday, be safe. Good health and happiness to you and yours. Thanks for tuning in to the WPF.
Leadoff batter, Kelly Torres skies a pop-up a mile into the air. Brian, the easy catch. And that is now 7 in a row, make it 8 in a row, retired by Chloe Temples.
Yeah, Temples adjusting, I would say adjusting nicely to her entree into the WPF. You know, you look at that final score from Friday and maybe you're inclined to say, oh, 6 runs given up, but there was a lot more that went into those 6 runs than what was going on in the circle.
Bases empty, 1 out for Jenna Keene. Drove in the game's only run with that bunt single. in the second. We relayed the story earlier about her jersey number and how she got to 64 and her aspirations to become a firefighter. Well, following in her dad's footsteps, her father Dave, fire chief at the city of Casa Grande.
In a nice moment before the game, Sierra Brown, center fielder for Hub City, and Keene, once upon a time teammates, they visited before the game. As a matter of fact, I took a couple of pictures and sent them off to Matt Sullivan, media relations at the University of Louisiana.
Yeah, not only teammates, but roommates together.
Yeah.
When they were with the Raging Cajuns.
Yeah, had a hug there at the end. It was really good to see.
One ball, one strike. Keene with a fly ball to left. Coming in is Brown and makes the catch. Sliding to a knee and makes the play for the second out.
Well, if we had a nickel for every really, really good defensive play we've seen from the outfield this weekend, we'd have a lot of nickels.
With Brown right off contact, a good jump. Athletic play to make the catch. Not a whole lot getting past the infield and outfield defenses this weekend.
Yeah, go bridge back to the game last night. There's been some, at times, spectacular stuff.
Laywood Day with a swing and a drive. Left center, belted and gone. First pitch, jumped all over it. And Day goes deep for the first time as a pro. 2-0, Monarchs on top.
Absolutely hammered it. And you know, we're kind of getting the book so far, and I do say so far on Day. You know, there is some swing and miss, but when she provides contact, it's see you later, alligator.
Laywood Day, 15 homers this year at Sacramento State in her final season playing college softball, owns the Sac State program record for career homers, 61. And that is her first as a Texas Monarch.
And I think that got to your second fence out there again, Brant.
I think it did. That's now 3 homers for the Monarchs in the series, and the first from a player not named, Sarah Vanderford.
Yeah, and you think about the home runs that we've seen in the WPF so far this season. There have been very few that have leaked across the wall.
I was just thinking the same thing. We keep mentioning that second wall, and it feels like every home run has either gotten close to it or cleared it.
Or the shed. Not sure if we can get a look at that shed beyond the wall in center field. We saw Lily Piper hammer that thing opening weekend. So, yeah, there are some offensive players in this league.
There was a Texas Smoke player that also homered off that shed last week. 1 ball, 1 strike to Flaherty.
Was it Eccles?
It may have been. Look through the scorebook right now. Flaherty did offer that pitch, by the way, a ball and 2 strikes.
Some of the fans really getting into it here at Bobcat Softball Stadium.
It was Jazz Hill.
Jazz Hill.
Yeah. It was a grand slam. That was a really interesting game. You go back to opening weekend between the Monarchs and the Smoke. Hill with a grand slam of the first inning. The Smoke scored 8 in the first 2. But the Monarchs kind of battled back, made a game of it for a while. And as we know, that kind of translated into the following day, an extra inning game, and then the win the day after.
Yeah, Wesley, the pitcher we saw yesterday, was a part of that game.
Flaherty with a base hit in the infield. So how about the Monarchs back-to-back 2-out base hits here in the 5th inning?
Yeah, nice job there. And Flaherty kind of shows you, you know, sometimes in softball, you can be unfortunate. Her previous at-bat, back in the 3rd inning, she hit an absolute rocket, but right at her counterpart, Brocky at short. And here, a seeing eye kind of ground ball single up the middle. Nothing that Bracamonte could do with that ball other than put it in her back pocket.
It's been kind of a tough start for Flaherty's pro career. Before that hit was 2 for 22 as a pro. St. Clair pops up. Brocky makes the catch. And that'll do it in the 5th inning. But Laywood Day, with 2 outs, hits a bomb to left center. Her first home run as a pro, and it's put the Monarchs on top 2-0. 5 innings in the books. We head to the 6th. Monarchs playing long ball and leading by a pair over the Hub City Adelitas. A Laywood Day 2-out home run has doubled the Monarchs' lead from 1 to 2 as we go to the 6th inning, 2-0. Texas on top of Hub City, a team playing for a 4-game sweep. Destiny Brown, first pitch with a base hit that chopped over the head of Vanderford to third. Brown going to motor on to second base, so 1 pitch in, and Brown winds up at second base for the leadoff double.
Nice job turning on that ball, and Sarah Vanderford playing in a few steps, unable to get to it. I don't know that even if Vanderford had been playing back, if she would have been able to get over to the line in time to cut that off. Let's see, Hub City again. Hit the rewind button. Hub City, they've gotten people on, but haven't gotten them in.
That ball lined right back to Slaughterbeck, throws back to second for a double play.
Yeah, right on cue. Sometimes the softball gods have been unkind to Hub City, but Brown, her secondary lead, I get it. It's just unfortunate there. What a play by Schlotterbeck, huh?
Man,
was that a catch or was that self-preservation?
Cat-like reflexes there from Slaughterbeck. That ball was a bullet right back to her. She doesn't make that play. That's a run. Nobody out and a runner on. Instead, she does, just like that, 2 outs.
Sometimes, in this game, you just have days like this. You have weekends like this.
Munoz behind 0-2. Last week, the Monarchs didn't turn any double plays against the Smoke. They have turned 4 in this series.
Incidentally, great job by Fessler. Just came in at second base and did a nice job of getting over.
Sarah Fessler making a play herself. How about the defense in this inning for the Texas Monarchs? They're all smiles right now. In the 6th inning, a leadoff double, but after that, 2 big outs recorded in the infield. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Monarchs on top of the Adelitas, 2-0 here in San Marvelous. Some Billie Jean playing in the background as we take a look at Sarah Fessler. Came into the game in place of Kylie Sand a couple of innings ago and was challenged with a line shot to second base in the top half of this inning. Made that play a part of a big defensive half inning for the Monarchs.
Yeah, Fessler, the play right before that, did a nice job of getting over, covering the second base bag so that Schlotterbeck could complete the double play, making her presence known after just coming in. The former Youngstown State Penguin was first team All-Horizon League back in the day.
So I guess that answers the question of how does a Penguin handle the heat?
Very well.
Very well.
I didn't know Penguins could jump that high. She did climb up the ladder, all joking aside, then did a little dance move after making the grab. Happy as she should be. Wore the number 10 as a Penguin, same 10 as she has as a Monarch. We've seen a number of players have the same numbers they wore in college, but others, for various reasons, have had to change up their numbers.
You would think by the time you make a Division I roster, you will have a number kind of attached to you. It was Fessler with the fly ball to the left, and the park holds that. Brown makes a catch for the first out. So, there's probably a story behind every jersey number a player picks themselves. You think they will have settled on one by college, so I would think that would change by the time you reach the pros. But if another player already has that number, whatever the case may be, you may have to change, but not in the case of Fessler.
Yeah, see that with Jessica Mullins for the Smoke, wore 4, if I recall correctly, as a Texas State Bobcat, now wearing 44 for the Smoke.
The
Just
number was taken. Yeah. The number was taken.
Yeah.
Vanderford, her Texas State teammate, 26 in college, 26 as a pro.
I'm not saying that softball players are superstitious.
Just a little stitious. I knew exactly where you're going with that.
Ball on tee, thank you, Brant.
This is the second time of the series that the Monarchs have worn this particular jersey. They introduced it on Friday. San Marvelous. Although the team name is the Texas Monarchs, not the San Marcos Monarchs. San Marcos is where they're headquartered.
I want a jersey. Are you writing that down?
It is a wonderful marketing idea for Texas State, isn't it?
Tremendous idea.
Yeah.
And it's been around. This isn't something that just happened this month, this week, but this area being known as San Marvelous goes way back. For those of you who have ever been to San Marcos, you understand why.
We've talked about Mississippi State a few times and the nickname they have in Starkville, Stark Vegas. And you've seen, some apparel, and I think you've seen it even like painted on the football field or the baseball field from time to time. They've really embraced that.
Yeah. Been through Starkville once upon a time. Just had a conversation with Briley St. Clair and Aspen Wesley the other night after the game on the way out. Told them as much. They told me it's changed a little bit since I was there 30 years ago.
I would hope any place you've been 30 years ago has changed a little bit.
One thing that hasn't changed is both of these pitchers have been really good today.
You could argue that Chloe Temples has only really made 2 mistakes. A double hit by Piper, the homer to Laywood Day. But beyond that, she's been really, really good.
She has. We saw that from Hanley yesterday in the Monarchs' 3-1 win over Hub City. Pitchers are going to make mistakes, but as a batter, you have to make the pitcher pay for their mistake. And it's just been, you said it, Piper and Day.
Vanderford pops it up into right and recorded for out number 2. We now see, by the way, Casey Flores switching from third base to right field. And that's because Diana Vizcarra, who came in as a pinch hitter in the 5th inning, is now at third base for the Adelitas.
Thank you, partner. I'm updating my book over here. Well noted by you. Saw Day with a big 2-out home run last inning.
Emily Hott swing and a miss. Last time she was up, Hott with a lengthy battle against Temples. I think it was officially 11 pitches in the at-bat. Temples finally got her swinging. Hott over 2 with a couple of strikeouts.
Hott scored 2 of the Monarchs' 3 runs yesterday. It's been a part of the story.
With the Adelitas potentially a pitch away from getting out of the inning, you look ahead to the 7th. It is Brocky, Bracamonte, Flores' spots in the order due up 5, 6, and 7. As of right now, needing at least 2 runs to keep the game going.
And just like we said last night, you know Hub City would love to get this next half inning to Bryan and Brown.
Hott lines it to the first baseman Munoz, and we go to the 7th inning. A 1-2-3-6 for Temples. But her offense has some work to do down to their final 3 outs. Trailing by 2 runs. To the 7th inning we go. Back to San Marcos after this on the official WPF YouTube channel. The Adelitas, for the 3rd straight day, enter the 7th inning trailing by 2. Trying to rally back here as we go to the top of the inning. And remember, on Friday, they were able to come back from the 2-run deficit to tie the game before losing in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Trailed by a couple of runs yesterday, could not overcome those 2 runs, losing 3-1, trailing 2-0 here. As we start the inning, McKenna Brocky, first pitch, right to the shortstop Flaherty. 1 pitch and 1 out for Slaughterback, who so far has been fabulous for the Monarchs in the circle.
Yeah, maybe one of the biggest numbers of all for Schlotterbeck. Only 1 walk given up today, and so Hub City has had to earn anything and everything they've gotten, which clearly hasn't been much.
She tossed 4 scoreless innings in the opener on Thursday, through 6 1/3 scoreless in this game. Has scattered 4 hits, the 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts along the way make it 4. Bracamonte looks at ball 2.
Hub City needs base runners. Want to be disciplined up at the plate, pass the baton.
Well, you said the goal is to get it to Bryan and Brown, but a long way to go until we get there.
Yeah.
Bracamonte with a pop up to first. Piper's there, and the Adelitas are down to their final out.
The single by Munoz, hard hit. The single by Flores, who's up now. Earlier, Flores, she had a hard shot into center. But here in the top of the 7th, those first 2 at-bats kind of show what Schlotterbeck has done in terms of staying away from barrels.
I'd argue the biggest moment in this game was the leadoff double hit by Brown in the 6th inning. And then Peyton Lopez comes up, hits a scorcher right back up the middle, but right to Schlotterbeck, who was able to double off Brown, trying to get back to the bag. That ball gets by Schlotterbeck. This is a completely different game.
Yeah, big momentum killer for that Hub City dugout.
Three balls, no strikes.
Betcha $1 trillion Flores is taking, right? Want to get on base.
Well, you give a green light here, you're doing something wrong.
Almost wonder if Flores, we'll never know. I was going to say, even if it goes to 3-1, would Flores take again? We'll never know.
Flores on for the 3rd time of the game. The only batter Schlotterbeck has not saw. A base hit, a couple of walks, and with that, the tying run comes up.
Perry got her first base hit of the series, her last time up in the 5th. Perry's got some pop in her bat. Wind's blowing out towards left center. Maybe Brandon's picked up even a little bit more than we saw at the start of the game.
All right, so here we go. Tying run comes up. 2 outs in the 7th inning. Adelitas trailing 2-0. Perry does have a hit today, a single back in the 5th. Ground ball to 3rd. Vanderford makes a play, and the Monarchs have their first ever sweep. They win the finale 2-0. Schlotterbeck with a complete game shutout of the Adelitas here this afternoon.
After seeing what Wesley did yesterday, Schlotterbeck was over in that dugout taking notes, and she came out today and executed the game plan.
So Trinity Schlotterbeck, a couple of wins in the circle in the series. And the Monarchs have now won 5 in a row after an 0-3 start. They are now 5-3, while the Adelitas have dropped 4 in a row. They fall to 2-6. Not a lot of offense in this game, but the big swing came from the DH for the Monarchs. Leywade with the first career home run in the WPF.
And as they describe it, a no-doubter. And how important was that, right, to apply a little bit of insurance for your team, even more confidence for a team that is going down to Coastal Bend with a whole lot of momentum.
Well, that wraps up our coverage of the series this week. Next week, starting July 4th, it is Game 1 of the series between the Hub City Adelitas and the reigning champion Texas Smoke. We'll have it for you here on YouTube. But that's going to close out our coverage of today's game. For Bill Colhane, I'm Brain Freeman saying so long from San Marcos, Texas. The final score, Monarchs 2, Adelitas nothing. For more information on the league, log on to WProFastPitch.com. This has been a presentation of WPF. Until next time, enjoy your weekend from Bobcat Softball Stadium.